I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I met Mark.
The Lady in Black, the track that's too tough to tame. Those are two of the names that drivers and fans have given Darlington Raceway over the years. The oldest speedway on the NASCAR circuit, Darlington Raceway's egg-shaped configuration has been perplexing race drivers and mechanics since it opened in 1950 with the inaugural running of the Southern 500. The track was built on an old farm in the middle of rural South Carolina, and its unique shape is the legacy of a minnow pond that farmer who owned the land wasn't willing to sell. Minnows still swim in that pond 7 decades later, and while lap speeds have risen to nearly 180 miles an hour, the car set up just right for one end of the 1.36-mile oval still won't handle on the other. The fastest lap times are achieved with a compromise. The car isn't perfect at either end of the racetrack, but a talented driver can coax the car quickly enough through both sets of corners. When it comes to the true Darlington legends, however, 2 drivers stand apart from the rest. Dale Earnhardt Sr. won here 9 times. Quote, "You never forget your first love," Earnhardt said, whether it's a high school sweetheart, a faithful old hunting dog, or a fickle racetrack in South Carolina with a contrary disposition. And if you happen to be a race car driver, there's no victory so sweet, so memorable as whipping Darlington Raceway. The most successful driver of all time, and what is perhaps the most difficult track in NASCAR circuit, is David Pearson. 60s and 70s ace known as the Silver Fox for his smooth style behind the wheel. 10 times at Darlington, Pearson outfoxed the other drivers in the track itself. If he'd want any more, they'd have to turn over the deed to the track to him. Tonight, it's the Black Horizon Truck Series Throwback 150. It's coming up next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Darlington Raceway. Tape-delayed coverage here of the Throwback 150 from Darlington Raceway. Appreciate the league for letting us do this on a delayed basis as I was traveling during the week, unable to do it live. But I don't know who won. I didn't look at anything, so we're going to broadcast this one just as if these guys are out here racing right now. The only exception is some of the race replays as far as crashes are concerned might be hard to develop in, but we'll try to make sure we cover them live as they unfold. But last but not least, thank you guys all for joining us here from Darlington Raceway. Qualifying 3 minutes in, just a couple of minutes left. Let's go down trackside to see where everybody is lining up. '69 of Petchin fastest thus far. Trying to find these guys on track. Stephen Miles in the number 7. A couple of wins this season already. .29.556 for Miles, puts him 12th fast. Chris Galla on the racetrack, the number 22. First lap was a 29.889, 21st on the grid. .29.711, lap 2 for Scalo, puts him 17th. Looks to be that's actually going to wrap up everyone here. Sean Petchin only getting 1 lap in, which is going to put him 23rd fast at this point in the game. Officially ending the qualifying session here at 5 minutes. We're going to jump out here, get a quick break before we go to our starting grid. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Sgarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Your starting grid for tonight's Throwback 150, Brandon Alphin, the number 21 on the pole position with a lap time of 29.275. To his outside, it's the 77 of Sam Fontaine. Jason Dalton's going to roll from the second spot. The 44 of Diego Sainz, he's going to start from the fourth position with Ben Pierce starting fifth. Trey Anderson's going to start from P6. Justin Bondurant, the 11, starts 7th. Luke Knupp with Factory Sim Sports starts 8th. Matt Telder will roll from the 9th spot. Chris Dean, the Dean Machine, he'll start in the 10th position. Starting in the 11th spots, Cameron Ingram with Stephen Miles in the 7, rolling from the 12th position. 13th goes to Brian Sutphin, 14th, Cedric Ingram. Luke Daniels with Apex Sage Team 5150 will start 15th. Luke Strayer with Grid Esports will start 16th. Chris Scala with 4X Racing starts in the 17th position. Jacob Drift will roll from the 18th spot. 19th is Josh Gagnon, the number 79. 20th goes to Joey Lattiser with Speed Ranch XP1 Racing. 21st, Lucas Simonson will roll from the 21st position in the number 49. Asher Quincy starts 22nd. Sean Petchin locking his time to the tail end of the field in 23rd. Your starting grid here for the Throwback 150 from Darlington Raceway. Field just about getting ready to roll from the grid here momentarily. I think it'll be one lap of pace around Darlington Raceway before we get under the green flag. Get 150 laps here around Darlington Raceway. Current weather here at the Speedway, 78 degrees, 55% humidity. Rather dry considering we are in the south. 76-degree track temperature as the sun continues to set. That will come down a bit. Barney the flagman with the green in hand, waiting for the pace car to pull off. Are we going to get one more lap of caution? We are, so we're going to go 2 pace laps before we get underway. Getting ahead of myself here. Typically, these larger racetracks, you go 1 lap. Sometimes the admins will opt for 2 just to try and make sure everyone's in their necessary positions. Pace car lights are off, so that should indicate a green flag the next time by. Tonight's picture is brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams, providing custom camera angles at every iRacing racetrack available to those on the sim. If you're running a broadcast company of your own, check those guys out, Whiplash Sim Cams. Do great work over there. Andrew does an awesome job. Pace car down. And let's try this again. Barney with the green in hand. Pace car no longer on the racing surface. We're underway from Darlington Raceway. Barney's waving the green. We're at speed. Sam Fontaine out in front. Oh, we got contact with the 2 of Luke Knupp into turn 1. We've got big trouble. Jason Dalton involved in this as well. 2 of Jason Dalton. That was not Luke Knupp. May have started there, but big impact. Let's just rewind this here. Get a look to see what happened. Slow it down just a bit. Again, going into turn 1 here to start lap 2. Sends Jason Dalton up the racetrack into the wall. Collects, looks like the 85 as well. Many others. Telder is in this in the 1. Early on in the race, guys getting collected in this. There you have it. So this is what we talked about. I cannot use the instant replay button here in a replay session because if I hit the live button, it's going to take us all the way to the end of said replay, and then you won't see any of the race. So unfortunately, I got to fast forward it back through, but minor inconvenience. And now we pretend to be live, which we're live. We are live here on YouTube. It's youtube.com/@HBRTV and the number 1. If you guys haven't already done so, like, follow, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Notifications would help a ton here in this instance because, again, we're broadcasting on an off day, not a typical night for us to be broadcasting. So if you didn't know it was coming and your notifications were turned on, well, you wouldn't miss it. Justin Bondurant down the pit lane. Again, this is a throwback race. Here you see the spicy schemes on that number 11. Kind of a throwback to the Denny Hamlin FedEx colors. Zoomed in here. Simple, but pretty cool. Luke Daniels, of course, also involved in that one. Justin Bondurant, a little bit of damage as well. Jacob Drift, he is in the pits. Don't know if that was just fuel only. These drivers do not have fast repairs at their advantage, so we'll have to see how the guys that were involved in this first caution fare the rest of the way. Again, Matt Telder, damage to the 1. Asher Gwinzy, still some right rear damage on the 12. Joey Lattiser, a little bit of right side damage on the 23. Ben Pierce, truck's all banged up as well. Some fast guys involved in this one. Tough break to see them having issues this early on. Again, a lap 2 incident here from Darlington. But right now, the 77 of Sam Fontaine leads the field. Started outside front row. Brandon Alphin was the pole sitter, but he has slipped to the 2nd spot. Trey Anderson's 3rd. Christine is P4, and Cameron Ingram is 5th. I believe this is a new paint scheme on the 77 of Fontaine. I want to say thanks to the stream chatters. Haley out of Sweden already in here. This is a nice one for her. It's a little bit sooner in the night. I think it's about 1 a.m. out where she's at. Sean Petchin, hello. Brewer plays. Got Drift King, Captain Fronto. Of course, Sean Petchin again. Thanks for jumping in, guys, saying hello. Haley says 1 a.m. so much nicer. I bet. It was actually a late one for me last night as well. No particular reason, but 4 a.m. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm getting too old for this. I'm 40. I can't do that anymore. I've got kids I got to take care of. It's just, it's not a fun good morning for me. Pace car pulls off here. We're going to go back to the green flag this time by. Hopefully we can get a couple laps in before we have any more issues. Always tends to be some issue, no matter where we're watching from. Green flag back out. Fontaine out to a good jump. 3, 4, 5 truck lengths back to Brandon Alphin in P2. Out of turn 2, looking stellar in that number 77. Trey Anderson and Chris Dean battling for position. Top 500 a blanket here at lap 8. Fontaine, Alphin, and Dean, your top 3. 4th goes to Trey Anderson. Cameron Ingram, P5. Steve Miles runs 6th. I know we had a bunch of fast guys involved in that lap 2 crash, but there is still plenty of speed near the front of the field right now. All these guys going to be contenders for the win here tonight. The battle for the 4th position. We're going to ride on board with Cameron Ingram. He's got the pace here. He's close right to the back bumper, the tailgate of the 85 of Anderson. Through turns 1 and 2. Little bit of a wiggle off the corner. He's going to lose a little bit of ground to Anderson here. Man, I know we're riding on board with Ingram here, but looking at the back of Trey Anderson's truck, that is cool. That is old school in its finest. Talk about a throwback. That takes you back to childhood, seeing those big body Chevy trucks with the Chevrolet blazoned on the tailgate, looking good. That just looks old school, man. I love it. Things relatively unchanged here at the front of the field. Top 5 remain the same, at least for the time being. Still the closest battle on the track right now. It's between Ingram and Anderson. Truck length and a half between the 85 and the 5. Back in the 6th spot, though, Steve Miles. We've talked about him. He's got a couple of wins this season. Started in the 12th position through just attrition, I think, already. The 7 up 6 spots. Brian Sutphin in behind in the 26th. Luke Strayer, Sean Petchin. Now Justin Bondurant cracks the top 10. Remember, Bondurant was involved in that lap 2 crash as well. A little bit of damage to that machine, but it's not hindering him terribly. Still able to stay on the lead lap, up into the top 10. Still the battle for the 4th position. Trey Anderson, Cameron Ingram. Anderson had to check up there for a moment. Not sure if it was due to the 23 truck or just sliding the nose. Ingram had to do the same. Didn't really close down the gap that much, but these two, I don't know if it's because Anderson might be a tick slower than Ingram, but in behind them, Miles and Sutphin have closed down the gap. They're going to challenge for these positions if Ingram can't do something with Anderson here in the short term. They've all closed in here. The 85 of Anderson taking a peek inside the 48 of Christine. Nothing doing there. On a turn number 4. Meanwhile, we got a battle for the top spot. Alphen topside trying to take it over. Actually, he's on the bottom. Goes to the inside, clears the 77 for the top position. New leader, lap 16. It's the 21 of Brandon Alphen, the pole sitter, back on point. Alphen all of a sudden picked up the pace here. He has stretched it out already. His lead back to second place Fontaine, almost a half second already. Remember, he only took that spot away about a lap and a half, maybe 2 laps ago. Cameron Ingram finally did dispose of the 85 of Trey Anderson. Anderson now running in the 5th position. Brian Sutphin has taken over the 6th spot. Interestingly, Steve Miles has slipped back to P9. Not sure if there was an issue between those drivers as they battled, because Miles was in front of Sutphin just a couple of laps ago. Jacob Drift running in the 10th spot, the number 14 machine. Justin Bondurant has slipped back to P11. Number Bondurant nursing some damage on that number 11 Toyota Tundra. Meanwhile, Luke Knupp, 12th position. He's starting to close in. Some distance back. Got plenty of racing left to come here. This number 29 truck, I believe this is an old Mike Bliss throwback paint scheme. Good looking truck. I'm trying to remember if it was a ASC paint job. Now he's got Red Sim Designs on it. Loving those guys take an old paint scheme and add their own logos to it. Meanwhile, Brandon Alphen has checked out. The 2.5 back to the 77 of Fontaine here. Lap 21 from Darlington. Battle for position. Christine in 3rd. Cameron Ingram knocking on the door. About a truck length and a half behind the 48. The sun continues to set here at Darlington Raceway. Lights are on. Sky ablaze red. Field is spread out pretty significantly already here at Darlington. We get 23 laps in. We did have a lap 2 crash. It certainly affected a lot of these drivers. Currently 18 trucks on the lead lap. Not on the lead lap is Jason Dalton, Diego Sainz, Joey Lattiser, Matt Telder, Ben Pierce. Looks like Telder and Pierce maybe have only turned 3 laps tonight. I think they might be out of this one after that lap 2 incident. Going to leave us with 21 trucks remaining. 25 down, about 125 to go. Brandon Alphen, your race leader. Sam Fontaine runs in the second spot. Christine is third. Cameron Ingram right there, trying to reel in the 48, move himself up a position. Trey Anderson runs back in the fifth spot. So the top five all relatively close together, considering that Alphen has stretched his lead out to 1.88 seconds. Trying to check on some other battles throughout the field. Right now, again, it still seems that the top five, the closest on the track. Petchen taking a look to the inside. That's a battle between himself and Brian Sutphin. And that battle with Petchen and Sutphin, that's for the sixth spot. Sutphin there in MP6. Number 26 truck, the Chevy Silverado just ahead. KJ Deep 2, it looks like, on the side of that Silverado. Petchen making a move to the inside here. Slides the 26 up the racetrack. No contact, but the 26 doesn't slam the door here. He's going to open it for the 41. Strayer trying to follow Petchen through. Nothing doing there. Has to tuck back in behind the 26 of Brian Sutphin. Miles is in the back of this little group as well. He's going to try and follow the 41. Certainly not a bad lead blocker to be in behind. Oh, Strayer almost makes contact. He does make a little bit of contact. Has to check up. Loses the spot to Miles. Miles now is going to put the attack on the 26. Sutphin's in the wall. Gets the right side in the safer barrier. That's not good for it. Cost him a lot of momentum and a little bit of track position, not to mention the positions on track. Slips back to P10. He's got Justin Bondurant bearing down on the tailgate of that machine as well. So easy to do at a place like Darlington Raceway, but the 26 gets its Darlington stripe out of the way here at lap 30. Christine running in the fourth spot. Cameron Ingram has quickly disposed of that machine. He moves himself up into P3. Checking on some other battles in the back of the pack here. The 28 of Luke Daniels, again, involved in that lap 2 crash. He's got Josh Gagnon in behind, and Gagnon gets a piece of the wall out of turn number 2. That's certainly going to slow his roll. It's going to allow Chris Scala to close down here within 2 to 3 truck lengths off the back bumper of the 79. Gagnon was running in the 14th spot at the time of that incident just a lap ago. Put the right side in the wall. Going to have to collect himself and get going here, but Scala putting the pressure on here. Gagnon a little bit lower this time. Scala's going to take a peek to the inside. Might have had to check up out of 2 to avoid the same fate the 79 had a lap ago as he loses a couple of truck lengths off the back bumper. Well, the 23, Joey Laddiser on the bottom there, the Country Time Lemonade. Now, I'm not sure that could be a Neil Bonnet throwback or a Bobby Hamilton Sr. throwback. Either way, it's a good-looking truck. Tough that he's out of this one early. Again, certainly damaged from that incident in lap 2, but he's sticking it out. He's staying on track, hoping for some more attrition, pick up a couple of spots here. Every point matters when it comes down to the end of the season. Again, we are 8 races in the Black Horizon Truck Series. 23 certainly off the pace. Doing a good job staying out of everybody's way, though. You know, a lot of races, they have a minimum speed you have to meet. You must be there. If not, he's just doing a great job of not getting in anybody's way. Give him a pat on the back for that. I know it's frustrating to be out there underpowered. Watch Brian Sutphin, though. He slipped all the way back to the 10th spot. Might have burned his tires off here because he had some pace early on. And kind of in a free fall of the last 10, 12 laps. Runs 10th. He's got all sorts of company in the form of Justin Bondurant and Luke Knupp. Remember, Luke was a ways back from the 11. Couldn't even see the 11. The whole straightaway, the advantage he had. Bondurant will slip off the corner. He's going to open the door for, I almost said Mike Bliss. Luke Knupp driving that number 29. Yeah, tires certainly starting to wear here at Darlington Raceway. You see these guys starting to get real loose on corner exit. Meanwhile, Brandon Alphin still your leader, but I don't know if he had a problem, but he has lost considerable daylight out the back window. That number 21 Strada d'Italiano machine. He had a 2-second advantage just a couple of laps ago. It's down to 9/10. I don't know if he's just saving fuel, taking care of the truck, or if he got in the fence. I don't see any damage on the 21. He's trying to get a close shot here. He works his way out of turn 4. There might be, no, I don't see any right side damage. Oh, there is on the right rear. So he might have got a piece of the wall there. It certainly slowed him down considerably because that gap now shrinking again, just about half a second. So you work lap 40. Again, pit stops likely to be coming soon here. We've been under the green flag since lap 2's incident. Well, lap 2 is a lap 2 caution, and 21 gets in the fence here, opens the door for Fontaine again. Sam Fontaine going to retake the top spot at the stripe. Really looked like Alphin might have got a piece of the wall again, but Cameron Ingram now, he's going to be closing in. Such a dominating performance for the first handful of laps here, about the first 40 laps for Alphin, and now you see he's having some troubles. The 5 of Ingram goes to the inside. He's going to take P2 away, move Ingram, Alphin, man, I'm losing it, back to P3. So top 3, you see them there all together into turn number 1. Positions have all kind of switched around. Fontaine, your leader. The 5 of Ingram just taking over the 2nd spot. Brandon Alphin, after being so dominant for the first 30 or 40 laps under the green flag, slips back to the 3rd spot. Christine remains 4th. Trey Anderson runs in the 5th position. Again, we're going to stick with this here. We're going to try and get our first round of green flag stops covered before we take any breaks. Again, looking at the sky, beautiful sunset here in Darlington, South Carolina. Could you pick a better atmosphere for a race? No, you cannot. That was a rhetorical question. You cannot. I don't know how many of you guys have been to Darlington Raceway. I have only once. It was Labor Day weekend, going back probably 13 years ago. Camped out in the infield, hurt myself real bad. Missed most of the race. But man, it was a beautiful place to be. A fun atmosphere and a great race, at least for the Xfinity side. Missed the Cup race. I won't get into the details. But either way, I enjoyed myself. Just leave it at that. Speaking of enjoying themselves, though, the 5 of Cameron Ingram saved his stuff. we're seeing this. The late run, the long run truck seems to be the 5 of Ingram as he closes down on Fontaine. Fontaine slides up the racetrack, almost brushing the right side of the truck into the safer barrier, but if this continues too much longer, I think Ingram may be a threat for the position. Fontaine's going to have to be very defensive here or just kind of know when to fold his hand. He's got 3 truck length advantage. That's being generous on the 5 right now through turns 1 and 2. Ingram a little loose on corner exit. Carries the momentum though down the straightaway, closes the gap to within a truck length and a half. Now it's down to true trucks between the 77 and the 5. Man, if this was a battle for the win, what a race we would have. They have stretched it out significantly over the 21 of Alphen. Remember, Alphen was leading for quite a while. Had an issue, got the right side of the truck in the wall. Sean Roberts in the stream chat from the LSR side of things says, Darlington at night with a throwback scheme truck. Recipe for a fun race, always. I mean, these guys put on a good show regardless, but you add that little tidbit to it, makes it that much better. We got a battle for the lead here in lap 46 between Sam Fontaine and Cameron Ingram. It's shaping up pretty good, but also Brandon Alphen under pressure. Chris Dean just drops to the inside, takes the 3rd position away from the 21 truck. I'll tell you, if Alphen's not careful, he's going to lose 4th to Anderson here at any moment. Again, Anderson's truck, I know it's kind of simple as far as that paint scheme goes. I don't know if it's referencing another paint scheme from back in the day, and nothing that I recognize as far as that goes, but it's got that old school feel, that dark maroon, that Merlot color. White Chevrolet stripe on the tailgate. Man, I love it. I know I already said it, but I just can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Steve Miles, though, closing in. 85 of Anderson's going to take the position away. Miles might be the one next to take it, put himself into the top 5. Alphen has slipped to the 5th spot. Miles side by side now down into turn number 1. He's going to take the position. It's got to be the case here with Brandon Alphen. Just pushed a little too hard too early. You saw how far an advantage he had early on in this race. I think he just got the fence once again. But might have burned his stuff up. That right front tire is certainly not happy at this point in the go. Can't keep the thing pinned on the bottom. Keep sliding up the racetrack. And if you can run the high side here and really put that truck right up against the wall, you can be a lot faster in doing so. But it is a high-risk place to run. It's the slightest mistake. Well, you saw it happen. You're going to push that truck into the fence. You run the risk of damage. Of course, there's no fast repairs here. Meanwhile, Sam Fontaine down pit lane. Green flag stops beginning to unfold. Fontaine into the box. Nice and clean. Right sides go in the air. Sunoco Racing Fuel going in. Drops the jack crew around to the left side. Going to be 4 tires and fuel for the Black Horizon number 77. Fontaine pit as the race leader. Down and away, 14.77 seconds. Good stop for Sam Fontaine. Cameron Ingram in the box as well. Chris Dean also coming through to his position. And green flag stops underway at about 1/3 distance here. I would like to say that they can make it on 2 more stops, but remember, we had a caution at lap 2. That certainly helped them get to this 1/3 point. You got to think they probably would have been in here about lap 45, so we probably have maybe 3 more stops. Well, 2 more stops before this one is in. So Trey Anderson, your new leader. I think he's going to win paint scheme of the night. That's just it's going to be just my opinion. Getting Anderson out there. Now you got to wonder how long these guys are going to stay out. I know some of them want to stretch the fuel, but everyone that just put fresh rubber on, that undercut is going to be huge. And Anderson's best lap of the day, a race leader, 29.64. His last lap just shy of 32 seconds. That is a ton of lap time fall off with these tires being worn, and it looks like he's dropping down to the apron here. He's going to pit here lap 53, going to be 54 when he crosses the stripe. In for his first scheduled stop of the day. Luke Strayer in the pits. Four tires and fuel for the 41. He is down and away with Freebird on repeat. I second that. So Luke Strayer finishes up his scheduled green flag stop. Rejoins the race. Oh, Luke's loose. Big time loose. Cold tires. Does he save it? Oh, crosses it up. Just puts it sideways across the start-finish line. Caution's likely to come out here. He backs it down the racetrack to avoid that. Do we stay under the green flag? Oh, man, we got real lucky there. Yellow does not come out. Luke Strayer on cold tires after the pit stop. Or do we? No, I think we've got the caution here. Yes, we do. So, second caution of the day. You see it, well, up in the timing tower it says 0 with caution. This is one of the glitches of the system here when we're trying to do this on a replay. It is our second yellow of the day. It doesn't indicate as soon as it comes out. It just, everybody kind of slows down. So, either way, under the yellow, lap 55 for a self-spin out of the 41 of Luke Strayer. Just got loose after the pit stop. Didn't even get one lap in. Those tires were stone cold. Again, no tire warmers here in NASCAR. That sort of thing is reserved for Formula One. But we've got some drivers that didn't make their pit stop as yet. Luke Knupp, Chris Scala, Cedric Ingram. Some chat activity in the stream chat. Sean Roberts, the 21 of Alpha, looks like a Texaco throwback. It really is, but honestly, Sean, it's not really even a throwback for tonight. That's the paint scheme that he runs. It has an Italian restaurant, and it's a sponsor. I think it's D'Italiano Strada, I believe. Let's see, the 79 of Brad K throwback is nice. Who is in the 79 truck? Of course, the live timing doesn't show a 79 truck. Just a 77. Starting to get dark here in Darlington. Again, lights are on. Musco lighting system all the way around Darlington Raceway, illuminating the racing surface for all the drivers and fans. Gagnon. Josh Gagnon is 79. Why can't I find old Joshy boy? There he is. Yeah, you know, I didn't even catch it just because it looks so seamless. But yeah, that is definitely a Miller Lite throwback. He's got Soul Cannabis on the side of that machine, plus the tailgate really all over the place. That's his primary sponsor throughout the season. But yeah, definitely a Brad Keselowski throwback. Except it's on a Toyota. I don't know how I feel about that. I digress. So, Sam Fontaine, the number 77, still your race leader. Cameron Ingram, Chris Dean, Luke Knupp, Chris Scala, the top 5. Cedric Ingram, Sean Petchin, Trey Anderson, Steve Miles, Jacob Drift back to P10. 11th is Justin Bondurant, Luke Daniels, Brandon Alphen to P13. Those are your lead lap trucks. I'm not sure what the situation here with Luke Strayer is going to be. He brought out the yellow. He is the first truck 1 lap down. Don't believe he would get the lucky dog because he was the cause of that caution. Shall see, though. I don't believe that's going to be the case. Pace car lights go out here. We're going to find out because this should be the one to go. Wave around cars should go by the pace car unless they're going to go another time around. There you have it. We are on the one to go. Strayer stays put, so he's going to have to wait for another yellow. He's got Drift King 030, Tony Stewart 2011 All-Star throwback on the 14. I did notice that. I was trying to place it myself. That is a sharp-looking truck. Again, though, it's on a Toyota. Tony Stewart would be losing his ever-loving mind right now. It is sharp, though. So we're on lap 60, getting ready to go back to the green flag. It'll be lap 61 when it waves. Pace car pulls off. Surprised they didn't wave this one off. Had a lot of wave around cars to get caught up. We're back underway from Darlington. One lap complete since the restart. Fontaine still out in front. Puts about a half second on the 48 of Chris Dean. Dean back in the 48, closes down the gap, picks up about a tenth through the turns 3 and 4. Fontaine still out in front. Chris Dean remains in the second position. Cameron Ingram, P3. Kind of how we saw the first third of this race unfolding. Drivers were not super aggressive about making changes for position, just trying to save their stuff when the time got right. We really saw that come into play late in the run. Guys that were able to save tires, take care of their equipment for later on in the run, they were really able to excel. We saw guys like Sutphin was strong early on in the run, but slipped back just outside, I think, the top 10 at the end of that run. Cannot abuse these Goodyear Racing Eagles, especially at a place like Darlington. Battle for the second spot, Chris Dean, Cameron Ingram. Ingram does seem to have the pace right now. Slings it to the bottom out of turn 2. Alongside, down into 3. takes the spot away, move the 5 to P2. And we may have another caution here. Yes, caution is out. Not sure specifically who was involved in this. Trying to get a handle on that. Looks to be Sutphin and Bondurant. Spotters telling us it was in turn 2. I don't have a replay of it, but nonetheless, under our third caution of the night, now we watch to see if anybody, even over that short span, decides to hit pit lane and take tires. I don't think it's a great idea. I know they don't provide a ton of tire sets, and all these guys might want to consider saving a set for a late caution, which could come out. We don't know. But that's the nature of the gamble. Could happen, could not. So under our third caution of the night, just a handful of laps shy of the halfway point. Moving right along here at Darlington. Again, it is the Great Lakes Sim Racing Throwback 150. Drivers encouraged to sport their favorite throwback paint schemes for tonight's event. Seen a bunch of them out there. Certainly a fun one to watch. Darlington under the lights with throwback schemes. We've already had a Sean Roberts in the stream chat make a comment about it. Certainly enjoyable. He's adding something new and exciting to the race. Again, just to follow up here, if you're joining us late, we'll take a look at the qualifying results coming into tonight. Brandon Alphin was your pole sitter. Sam Fontaine, your current race leader, was the outside front row, missed it by about half a tenth. Jason Dalton, third. Diego Sainz, fourth. Ben Pierce, fifth. Diego Sainz running back in the 16th spot, not on the lead lap. Not 100% sure if he was involved in that first caution we had on lap 2. But it's been all about the 77 of Fontaine. Brandon Alphin had his time at the front in his number 21. Again, burned his stuff off a little sooner than anticipated. Lost a bunch of spots near the end of that run, slid back to about the 10th, 11th position. We'll see if he's got anything left. He hasn't made a whole lot of noise in this run, but he's running in the 10th spot. Maybe he's learned a little bit about the truck, how much tire to save for later on. We still have about half the race remaining, plus a couple laps. I don't know if I just saw that right or not, but did Christine get the wall? Under caution? I heard somebody smack the wall. Well, we're grouped up 2 by 2. I believe pace car lights are off, so we should get the green flag this next time by. Indeed, they are. So they're coming through 3 and 4 here. We'll be back racing in just a moment. Down into turn 1, Fontaine with the jump and the lead. 2 trucks back to the 5 of Ingram. Luke Knupp runs P3, Petchin up to the 4th spot. First time for the top 5 for him. Big mover so far. He's up 19 spots, and 5th is Cedric Ingram. Fontaine just having a good night here. He's got a ton of pace. This place certainly to his driving style, having a good run. But the 5 of Ingram, he seems to like it too. He's closed down to within just a few feet off the tailgate of the 77, in through turns 1 and 2. Let's see if he's going to get a run down the back straightaway here. Ingram taking a look. Fontaine goes up to the top. He's going to try and build that run. As we said early on, if you can run that high lane, that Larson line, really build a lot of momentum and kind of defend that way. Yes, it's shorter on the bottom. But look how narrow the racetrack is. You're not gaining a whole lot of distance just by running the low line. Plus, you're putting a whole lot more force on the right front tire. You're going to burn that up a lot sooner. Man, Ingram is fast. He keeps taking a look, trying to get in the mirror of the 77. Fontaine seems to have gotten that battle figured out. Stretches his lead out to about 0.3 of a second. 3 truck lengths roughly back to the 5. We are past halfway here. Lap 76 of 150 at Darlington Raceway. The Black Horizon Truck Series Throwback 150. Ingram just won't go away, though. He's closed it back into about a truck length off the back bumper. Got to wonder how much aero push the 5 is getting out of this. But, man, he's going to take a peek again. Try to get in the head of the 77. He might have it here. Takes a look to the inside. Oh, very close out of turn 4. Ingram has the pace. I just don't know if he's got enough of it to get around the 77 and get him clear. Again, these guys are battling pretty hard right now. Fontaine's last lap, a 30.23. Ingram, a 30.12. Still about a half second off their best lap of the day. Back to the inside, Fontaine up top, trying to defend with momentum alone. Can he do it? It's the closest we've seen Ingram all night long. Still pressuring, maintains the inside of the 77. Fontaine clears him back into turn 1. On board with Cameron Ingram out of Houston, Texas. See if he's going to make another run here out of turn number 4. Fontaine might have had the run on corner exit. In fact, he does start to pull away just an inch at a time. Drives it way deep into turn 3. Fontaine goes up the track, opens the door for Ingram. that just won't quit. You wonder how they've managed to stay out here with Luke Knupp not closing down on the two of them. They continue to battle. Knupp might be showing the most amount of discipline here, just saving his stuff. It's like a lion licking his chops at some raw meat here. These top two continue to battle. Luke's like, okay, you guys go ahead and beat up those tires. I'm going to save my stuff until you guys either wad it up or wear them out. Nonetheless, I think Luke Knupp's probably in the best position at the moment. Lap 84 goes up on the board. We're going to jump out and get an HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us. You won't miss a moment of the action. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Sgarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Darlington Raceway, 91 laps in the books. The throwback 150, Sam Fontaine continues to lead over Luke Knupp. Cameron Ingram did kind of what we expected to see. fought hard to get that lead, but unfortunately the payment for that fight is chewing up them tires. He's lost the second spot. He's about to lose it to Sean Petchin here, the third position. Petchin looks to the inside. Nothing doing there. Fontaine out in front, though, just about a tenth ahead of the 29 of Luke Knupp. That battle's still hot and heavy. Again, we talked about Luke just sitting there waiting for these guys to cause problems for each other, and it seems to be the case. He is all over the back bumper of Fontaine out of turn 4. Got two good battles on the racetrack. One for the top two, and then a quick one here over in a heartbeat with Sean Petchin and Cameron Ingram. Petchin goes to P3, Ingram back to fourth. Yes, they are in order. Back out front, Fontaine gonna have to contend with another challenger, Luke Knupp in the number 29 machine. I guess the question really remains, Fontaine able to save enough tire in that battle with the 5 to continue to defend that lead. Knupp goes to the inside here, down the Boeing straightaway. Turn 3's alongside. He might have it here. Out of turn number 4, the 77 of Fontaine up top, the 29 of Knupp on the bottom. At the stripe, Fontaine maintains that lead, but for how long? Knupp on the back bumper once again. We ride on board. Luke backs his corner entry way up. You can see how much gap he can close down in the middle of the corner just in doing that. Tries to build a run. Again, backs his corner way up, allows him to get back to the throttle just a tick sooner than Fontaine. Not soon enough. I gotta say, Fontaine has really impressed me so far tonight. He's been out front the majority of the evening. We're closing in on the 2/3 mark of the race. He's held off a brutal challenge from the 5 of Ingram. Chewed up the tires on the 5. He's back in the 5th spot. But Fontaine, even through that battle, has maintained the top spot. I know clean air is king, but Luke Knupp saved his stuff. He was careful about the truck, took care of it through that whole cycle, that whole fight between the 77 and the 5, and now he tries to bring the fight to Fontaine and still can't get it done. Meanwhile, it looks like Sean Petchin running in the 3rd spot, also starting to close in on the top 2. And look who else has rejoined the frame. In the 4th position, it's the 21 of Brandon Alphin. Led so many laps early on. Burned up his stuff a little sooner than he had planned, but I think he's learned his lesson. He's back in the top 5 and starting to close back in on Petchin. Meanwhile, Luke Strayer down pit lane here for a scheduled stop. This could be his final stop of the day. I believe at this point he could make it to the finish, barring some green-white checkered action. We'll see, but it's going to be 4 tires and fuel, I would assume, for the 41. Gonna bolt 4 fresh fuel goods on every time here at Darlington. It is exactly that. Now, remember, the last pit stop for the 41, he exited the pit lane, and I think it was the next corner. Got a little crossed up on the cold tires, spun the truck out, might have been off turn 4. I think that's where he came to rest, was right at the start-finish line. Didn't hit anything, still brought out the yellow. Back out front, the battle for the lead continues. Fontaine still has it. But man, Luke Knupp just trying to find any way he can to get around. I think he believes that he is faster. Last lap time for both of them was a 31.22 to a 31.23. Fontaine being the quicker. This time it was a 25 to a 32. Knupp being consistent. I still think if Knupp were to get by here, he might be able to put some distance between himself and the 77. Remains to be seen. You do have some other drivers making their pit stops. Sean Petchin down pit lane for his first scheduled stop of the day. Last scheduled stop of the day. 4 tires and fuel for the 69. He's down and away. Cameron Ingram in the 5 will come to the attention of his crew. Still some damage on the right side of that 5 truck. Might explain the lack of pace in this particular run. Back out front, we've got another fight on our hands. We got a lap truck in the mix. With 29, a Luke Knupp. He's going to roll down pit lane. Dives off the racetrack to the bottom. Sam Fontaine also down for his last stop of the afternoon. Brandon Alphin retakes the top spot, but he will still need to pit. His last stop was at lap 68, so this could actually work out for him. He'll have to pit later than the rest of these guys, but he'll have fresher tires for the final part of the run. So your current top 5 yet to pit. Brandon Elfin, Steve Miles, Chris Scala, Cedric Ingram, Justin Bondurant. Their last stops coming between lap 57 and 68. First driver with the last stop completed is the 69 of Sean Petchin. He runs in the 7th position. Again, we are in a tape delay, and Sean Petchin is in the stream chat, says that 69 undercut was solid. So far, so good. Alphin, still your race leader, remains on the racetrack. The top 2, I would imagine, going to wait a little bit before they hit pit lane. Seems about a 50-55 lap fuel window. Really surprised Scala and Ingram haven't come down pit lane as of yet. Cedric Ingram, that is, the number 19. Looking back on things, I have a feeling I messed this up a lot tonight between the 5 and the 19. If I did, I apologize. Either way, Cedric Ingram in the 19, Cameron Ingram in the 5. Cedric gets a piece of the wall there, right side. Again, he's going to need to make a pit stop relatively soon as well, so that truck's starting to wear out. You see the 14 just dive into the bottom. He's got to be on fresher tires. That's Jacob Drift going on by. He's in the 12th position. Now, through this cycle of stops, though, right now at lap 111, the top 5, the only trucks on the lead lap, as Brandon Alphin peels down and hits pit lane for his final stop of the afternoon. Alphin into that number 1 pit box. Chris Scala, number 22, hits pit lane for his last stop of the day. Miles, your new leader in the number 7 machine. Got a couple of wins on the season. Petchen goes on by. Again, Petchen was not on the lead lap at the time, but again, his pit stop was completed. Miles still needs to get his done. Petchen may cycle towards the lead here if this works out the way that he wants it to. He's just in front of the 29 of Knupp and the 77 of Fontaine. The class of the field here, the midsection of this race. So Steve Miles still your race leader in the number 7. Remains on the track. And our top 6 now, the only lead lap trucks, really. There's only 2 really in contention. You look at Petchen, Knupp, Fontaine, Bondurant, they are almost a lap down. Granted, again, they have completed their pit stops. Miles, the BullyDogCoffeeCompany.com sponsorship on that number 7 truck. Stays out once again. Again, pit cycles still left, I guess, to cycle through. Cedric Ingram, though, he's one of those chips to fall. He's down pit lane from the 2nd spot. Justin Bondurant will still need to pit, so will Stephen Miles. Brian Sutphin. Those are the 3, I believe, that will need to make one more stop to make it to the end. But again, they will have the freshest tires in the field, so we'll have to keep a close eye on them as the race progresses. Sean Petchen says, calm before the storm, oh Lord. This is why I don't watch them ahead of time, because you don't know what's going to happen. Cedric Ingram down and away. He's going to rejoin this race. Looks like in the 15th spot. I just don't see how this is necessarily going to work out for the 7 of Miles. He's definitely got some experience here in iRacing on the simulator, but you can see the pace difference between everyone who's pit and everyone who has not. Yes, he will have fresher tires at the end of this race, but as it stands right now, he is just losing track position every moment in staying out on the older tires. Really curious to see how this one pans out. Alphin goes by in the 21. Miles still with the lead. He's got a 21-second advantage on P2. That's Sean Petchen. Again, Petchen has completed his pit work, so he would cycle to the lead once Miles finally takes the opportunity to hit pit lane. I think Miles is just waiting for a caution at this point. He crosses his fingers here. That really could work out in his favor. With so few drivers on the lead lap still, he can make his pit stop under the yellow flag, go back to maybe 12th, 13th position at worst, and he'd have fresh tires all the way to the end. Down pit lane, final stop of the day for the 7. Oh, has to back it up twice, and then slide forward. What's the issue on the 7? Oh man, that was a ton of time lost, about 6 or 7 seconds before the crew even got to work on the truck. That is a ton of time. Again, at 180 plus miles an hour, 5-6 seconds, you cover a lot of ground really fast. That is a tough, tough break for the 7 of Stephen Miles. Meanwhile, Sean Petchin goes P1. Then it's Luke Knupp, Sam Fontaine, the 5 of Cameron Ingram, the 85 of Trey Anderson. So, 31 laps to go. Sean Petchin, your race leader, from the 23rd spot, working the strategy out in front of Luke Knupp and Sam Fontaine. We'll have to see if we can hold him off the rest of the way. His tires are the oldest of those three. Pit lap 101, where Luke Knupp and Fontaine pit lap 104. Being able to pass certainly difficult here at Darlington Raceway in these trucks. We'll have to see Fontaine, now that he's back in traffic, if he can do anything with these two in front. Luke Knupp is closing in, though. Truck length and a half off the back bumper of Petchin as they work through turns 3 and 4. Steve Miles in the chat laughing. I'd love to know what happened there, Miles. Did you just overshoot the pit? Forget to turn on the tires? I don't know. Anything could happen. Top three, the closest battle on the racetrack right now. Sean Petchin, Luke Knupp, Sam Fontaine. Sam Fontaine, one of 2 Canadians in the field today. And it is the Great Lakes Sim Racing League. LSRL. They don't really have the L at the end of it, I just did that. A lot of these guys from up north, myself included. I'm a 20-minute drive from Lake Ontario. So far, it's 8 races in. It's been a great series to be a part of here broadcasting. So we got a challenge for the lead. Luke Knupp goes to the inside, going to try and use the lap truck as a pick, but he gets out of the way. Knupp goes to the bottom. Petchin topside, he's going to try and fight back, puts the power down, but he can't make it work. But here comes the 7 of Miles. He's going to try and get his lap back through all of this. He's going to put himself in position. If the caution comes out, he can just drive back around. He's certainly the first truck 1 lap down at this point, but he wants to do it the old-fashioned way. Just like that, Knupp takes over P1. Fontaine slips into the 2nd spot as well. Again, only 3 laps the difference in tires, but you can see how far they have spread out since then. Petchin was just holding those 2 guys up, and again, it was only about a 3-lap delta in tire wear, but that's sometimes all that it takes on high abrasive surfaces like Darlington Raceway. Petchin says he had slapped the wall. Well, I wasn't going to throw you under the bus. Trying to make it sound good, Petchin. Either way, so Petchin comes in. He does confirm that he did get a piece of the wall there. I thought I heard something get into the fence there. Wasn't able to track it and see what happened. But yes, definitely going to cost some track position for the 69. He slips back to P3. 24 laps to go from Darlington. Your leader, Luke Knupp, number 29. Steve Miles just finishing his pit work. We'll see where he ends up finishing this race. If we stay under the green until the finish, he does have the freshest tires on the track. Meanwhile, Bondurant in the pits. He's going to make a stop here. This is 4 tires and fuel, or is this just damage repair? Bondurant's been in there about 24 seconds, so there might be some repairs involved here as well. Didn't catch what happened on track with the 11, but he is down and away. Back in the fight with 23 to go. Laps down is the 11. Oh, Lennon comes up the track, gets a piece of the 23. Puts him in the wall. Not sure what's going on here. Bondurant leaves the pits and gets into the 23 truck. And we are under the caution flag once again here from Darlington Raceway with 22 laps to go. Justin Bondurant leaving the pits, just comes right up the racetrack and makes contact with the 23 of Joey Ladisser. This could be perfect for Steve Miles. Remember, Miles had just finished his pit work, so he's on reasonably fresh tires. Caution comes out just as he gets by the leaders. So he gets the lap back. He can cycle back around. Now I'm curious if anybody has tires left. Looks like that is the case as the leaders all roll down pit lane here. Luke Knupp, Sam Fontaine, Sean Petchin, Alphin, Anderson, Ingram, Strayer. Everybody on this end of pit road bolting on some fresh rubber here for the finish. This changes everything. Up a little short in the box, but obviously got deep enough in there, was no issues. And look who has cycled back to the lead. Now, I don't know if Miles was in a situation where he didn't have any tires to use. Nevertheless, he opted to stay on the racetrack. Inherit the lead. Remember, he was a lap down about 5 laps ago. Made his pit stop very, very late in the run. Strategy at play here for the 7, and it's working at this point. Great positioning for the 7 with 20 laps to go. I wouldn't say he's got this in the bag because he's going to have guys with fresher tires behind him. We saw how just a few laps made a difference. Saw that battle for the lead with Luke Knupp and Sean Petchin. How quickly Knupp was able to overtake with just 3 lap fresher tires. It's going to be pretty close to the same differential between the 7 and everybody else. May actually be significantly more. Looking at it now, it was lap 118 that Miles made his stop. Pit stop's happening here at lap 130, so we're talking 12 laps. I am kind of surprised that Miles didn't come down and pit. He was on the lead lap. There's only 13 cars on the lead lap. He wouldn't have been that far behind. Miles has pace. Unless he's just out of tires. It's the only thing I can really chalk it up to. Or he's gambling. I don't know. If it was 3 to go, I could kind of understand this. But either he's out of tires, just a miscalculation. Hard to say. So, pace car lights go out, which means only one thing. We're on the 1 to go. Green flag will come out the next time by. We'll be back racing. Hopefully to settle this here, the throwback 150 from Darlington Raceway. Been a great race so far. Lots of strategy at play. I guess we get that quite a bit here. The long runs and tire strategy. Field has dwindled here. This place can certainly put a pounding on some trucks. 13 trucks on the lead lap. You see the majority of them here. Pace car pulls off. We're going to get one final restart here to settle it. Be 17 laps to go when Barney drops the green. And here we go. Miles gets a decent restart, but you see how quick those older tires are going to chew him up. Luke Knupp goes P1. Miles is going to slide back all the way to 4th and 5th here just out of turn 2. Luke Knupp, your new leader here at the front of the field with 16 laps to go. Meanwhile, Steve Miles battling now for the 6th position. Went from 1st back to P6 just in that opening lap. Top 3, it's Knupp, Alphin, Fontaine, and then we've got 4th place Cameron Ingram. Sean Petchin runs 5th. 6th is still Steve Miles. Coming to 15 laps to go. Alphin in a good position here. He did take tires. You saw how fast he was early on. Burned his stuff up. Ended up losing the lead because of it, but only with 15 to go. I think Alphin can go full kill here. He doesn't have to drive on stun. He might have a very, very good shot at this. In fact, he certainly does. Of course, running in the 2nd spot behind Luke Knupp. It's not going to be an easy task to get by. We'll see. It's there, half a truck length off the back bumper of the 29. 13 and a half laps to go. Meanwhile, Steve Miles has slipped back to the 7th position from that restart. It was a valiant effort, but at this point, I think he would kind of be in the same position he's in now if he opted for tires, or at least close to it. Knupp and Alphin continue to battle, coming to 12 laps to go. The 29 leads them. Alphin just trying to find a way around a solution to this problem that is the 29 in front of him. Definitely seems like clean air has been king all night long. Tires certainly the queen, I guess you could put it. Knupp goes up to the top. Alphin stays kind of on the middle there. Knupp kind of playing defensive here. He does come down just a bit. Takes away a little bit of the lane. Dumps some dirty air on the nose of the 21. Down into turns 1 and 2. These two checking out, though. Fontaine was the class of the field for quite some time, but now these two, as they battle, are starting to get away from Fontaine. I don't know if Sam is trying to save for the very end. Again, we're coming to 10 laps to go. I think it's go time. Petchin runs 4th. Luke Strayer runs 5th. And I see Steve Miles in the pits getting word that he did receive a black flag for going early. Jumped the restart as the leader. We went back to the green flag, so he'll have to serve a penalty. It is a drive-through penalty. Certainly not what he wanted to deal with. Tough break for the 7. Back out front. 9 laps to go. Alphin is right there. Gets a good run out of the corner. Stays tucked up underneath. Loses a little bit of ground on corner entry. Here they are out of turn number 4 once again. Alphin's going to need to get aggressive here. It's 8 laps to go. Again, it's more of the same. Again, we've talked about it so much, how important clean air is. But in how, if you make that pass and get around, as he takes a look to the inside, down the Boeing back straightaway. Into turn 3, Alphen has position on Nupp, goes way to the bottom. Nupp tries to pinch him down. It works. Alphen slides back in behind. I think Alphen has a bit more pace than Nupp does right now, but that's kind of what we were just talking about. How once you can make that pass and get clear of a guy, you can stretch it out and just go. We saw that early on in the race, especially out of the 21. He put 2 seconds on the whole field. Got 6.5 laps to get it done here. He's going to have to find a way around the 29, but quietly Sam Fontaine starting to come back into this picture. These two battling for the lead. They run a tick slower than everyone else. Fontaine's just going to sit there in third and try and run qualifying laps until this thing is over, or he can catch one of these guys. With another good run out of 4 at the stripe. It's 5 laps to go. Alphen right there, a big run out of turn number 2. He gets alongside again. He's going to try and make that move back into turn 3 once again. Side by side, middle of the corner. Nupp's got the momentum top side. Doesn't pinch the 21 this time. He's going to rely on the momentum alone. He still does it. I think if Alphen continues to do this, he may eventually wear down the 29, but it remains to be seen here. With 4 laps to go, he's running out of time. And just like that, Sam Fontaine is in the mix. Still about 4 or 5 truck lengths behind, but it won't be long. He's going to be right there. Now 3 to go, a truck length and a half. Nupp stretches out a little further over the 21 of Alphen. Out of turn number 2, Alphen might just be trying to back up here and build a run. Doesn't have enough out of the corner down into 3 to make a challenge. He might be saving it up for that final lap. A lot of guys will just try and get that final pass made into turn 3 here at Darlington. Slide up the racetrack, maybe get into the door a bit, break the momentum of the outside truck. Problem is you don't want to wreck the guy, because if you do that, well, that win probably won't stand. Luke Nupp out of turn number 4, looking for a white flag. I think Alphen's used up his stuff. He's starting to lose ground on Luke Nupp. It's 0.4 of a second back to the 21. Just like that, Luke Nupp out of turn number 4 for the final time. He started 8th. He's going to finish P1 and take the checkered flag in the throwback 150 at Darlington. Luke Nupp, your race winner. Brandon Alphen comes home P2. Then it's Sam Fontaine, Luke Strayer, Cameron Ingram, your top 5. What a run. Green flag came out, was about a 20 lap, maybe 18 lap shootout to the finish, all with fresh tires. Pure pace alone, and Luke Nupp takes it. I think Luke Nupp has done some donuts before. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here at Darlington Raceway. Let's take a look at our race results. Again, these are official at this point. Luke Knupp was your race winner, of course. Brandon Alphin, Sam Fontaine, P3. Luke Strayer, 4th. Cameron Ingram was 5th. Chris Scala, P6th. 7th finishing position went to Trey Anderson. Jacob Drift was 8th. Sean Petchin, P9. Luke Daniels was 10th. Chris Dean, the Dean Machine, was 11th. Cedric Ingram was 12th. Steve Miles, after a late race penalty, finishes P13. Brian Sutphin, 14th. Jason Dalton was 15th. Diego Sainz had a good run, but finished 16th after an early race incident. Josh Gagnon was 17th. Asher Gwinzy, 18th. Justin Bondurant was 19th. 20th position was Joey Ladisser. Luke Simonson was 21st. And Matt Telder, 22nd, with Ben Pierce, 23rd. Both drivers, 147 laps down, involved in that first yellow flag of the night. Took them out of this thing early, unable to continue. Tough break for those guys. Certainly wishing them the best of luck next week. Speaking of next week, where do we end up going? It's Richmond Raceway. Another night race, except the action track here going to be fun to watch, so tune in for it. It will be Wednesday. It will be live, not a tape delay this week. That's why we do not have our drivers in the broadcast booth this evening, but we will have a live broadcast next week, so join in for that and look forward to talking with our top 3 post-race at Richmond. If you haven't already done so, please like, follow, share, subscribe, youtube.com/@HBRTV and the number 1. Tell your friends if they're into sim racing, even in the slightest. It certainly does help get more eyeballs on the channel across the board. Please do the same over on Facebook. It's facebook.com/HBRTV1. No broadcasting on that side of things, but we occasionally share the links and different things iRacing related. Sometimes it's not even racing related, but we won't blow up your phone with crazy notifications. You might get 1 or 2 throughout the week. Nothing crazy. But that's going to wrap it up. Again, thank you guys all for watching and tuning in for this live tape-delayed broadcast. We do appreciate you guys jumping in here and participating. Most of the drivers here tonight, of course, that's a blast. And again, thank you, Haley, again, joining us from Sweden. I'm going to keep saying that until you stop showing up, because it is that cool that almost every broadcast we do here at HBR TV, we have an international viewer. It's not just Haley. Sometimes we've got some guys out of Argentina that chime in here that run in our GT3 series as well. But I think that's cool, and I do appreciate it. All you guys for chiming in here through the stream chat. Even if you're just watching and kind of lurking, that's cool too. We've got another broadcast coming up tomorrow. Speaking of GT3, we're going to run a tape-delayed GT3 broadcast from Brands Hatch, and then we go to a live broadcast tomorrow evening. It'll be the No Bull Racing Series. That's the truck series out at Sonoma Raceway. It's the Castle Pax Power 125. Tune in for that. That should be a good one. Zach Millett, certainly one of the favorites coming into it, but he's going to have some competition in the form of the McCann brothers, so make sure you guys tune in for it. It should be a fun one to watch. That's going to do it for me. Again, thank you all for watching. Tune into the next one, and you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching.